Hey, everybody. I hope you can really hear me. My name is Steve Dale. I am honored to be, first of all, say hi. And I remember doing this before on this platform for Pet Partners. And thank you very much, Pet Partners, for the opportunity and for everything you do. And for those of you who are, my nose itches, for those of you who are Pet Partners volunteers, thank you for everything that you do. So just as I start this thing, my allergies have gotten really bad. That's all it is hay fever, I promise. So if I sneeze, this is the thing. I can run and get an Allegra or Sudafed, but then that wouldn't be right, would it? I'm going to talk really fast during this thing because, see, I apologize. Wouldn't you know it? I was fine right before we started. The second that Alex says, and she says it looks good. I hope it sounds good. The second she says go is when hay fever starts. I'm going to go pretty fast through this thing. I have a lot of material to cover. First of all, hello, my name is Steve Dale. I'm a certified animal behavior consultant. I write books about companion animals. You will see a sampling of some of those titles at the very end of the talk. I'm on radio. I host a couple of radio shows about pets, 2 national shows, one on WGN radio in Chicago. I am on television as well. I'm a certified animal behavior consultant. That's maybe most important. If I did not say that, I think I said that already. I'm not sure. All right, now, I'm also inept. So let me see if I could do this correctly and start as I need to do my PowerPoint as I'm supposed to do. There we go. So hopefully it's showing. Alex, let me know if it's looking okay. I mean, the PowerPoint. So historically, people who are my colleagues, certified animal behavior consultants, as well as others who are in the behavior field, when there are problems with cats and dogs, either getting along with one another or the prospect of them getting along with one another, everything has been sort of looked at from the dog's perspective. And in my opinion, and you'll hear why, that's absolutely backwards. We ought to be considering the cat's perspective first, greatly because, and you'll hear me say this about 30 times throughout the talk, cats are control freaks. And when they feel comfortable, and I'll explain why this is so important, yes, for people, yes, for dogs, but far more important for cats, then things are far more likely to go well. Overall, cats and dogs certainly can live with one another. About 1/4 of the homes now in America that have a cat have a dog, and that number is on the rise for a variety of different reasons. So let's look at the history, because I think it matters a lot of these animals in our lives. So cats were domesticated fairly recently, about, as you see here, 5,000 to 8,000 years ago. Dogs go back over 40,000 years. We actually, Cro-Magnon men, actually evolved with dogs. So that notion that some say is so exciting and so new isn't new at all. From the dogs being outdoors on our property, to being indoors inside our homes, to being in our bedrooms, and then to literally being in our beds, that's really not a new phenomenon. The truth of the matter is that Cro-Magnon men slept beside in huts. I don't even know what to call the dwellings they slept in. They didn't sleep with dogs even. They were almost dog wolves at that point. They were in the process of being domesticated. Yet, those animals trusted us with their cubs or pups. We trusted them with our infants, our newborns. And we shared space together. Probably in part, it was utilitarian. I mean, there weren't space heaters back then. But nevertheless, our relationship with dogs is particularly special, and it goes back a very long ways. So we bred dogs over a great period of time to meet our needs. Dogs evolved to depend on us. Cats are not only more independent in our houses and the way they live every day, but they can potentially, better than dogs, arguably survive on their own outside. And if you think about it, we know that. So dogs have always been, and they continue to be, man's best friends, right? Cats, well, how many of you here, raise your hands, and I can't see the comments because of the way the screen. So at the end of this, if there is time, I will take your questions and comments, which you can type in. I apologize, but that's just the format. You know, I do things on Zoom. I do things on all sorts of different, and this is a different platform. And it doesn't allow those instant questions. I'm just seeing my PowerPoint. I don't even know if you're seeing me. And if you're not, you're better off for it, probably. So dogs have always been man's best friend. Cats, it's kind of either people love them or not. Part of that depends on where you happen to be in the world. Part of that, and you could say, whoa, Steve, I know people in certain cultures that don't like dogs. Here's something interesting. A study was done, and they showed people from a Middle Eastern culture that for decades and decades and decades have thought dogs as to be dirty. There is nothing in the Quran, actually, because I've checked, is what I'm talking about, to say that the dogs are bad or dangerous or unhealthy or anything like that. However, it is a cultural predisposition among some Islams and some places, not everywhere, that dogs are something to be avoided because they are dirty. Even showing those individuals pictures of dogs and then measuring their neurochemistry in their brain, their neurochemistry, serotonins, and all those kinds of neurochemicals that a happy dance. Even then, they physically smiled when they saw pictures of dogs. However, cats, kind of people like them or they don't. And it is dependent on all sorts of things, including previous experience, culture, individual and family norms, all kinds of things. Historically, cats have been beloved, revered, actually, in the Middle East, as one example. On the other hand, cats were blamed, in part, for the bubonic plague. And they began to kill cats, associating black cats, but all cats really. Isn't today National Black Cat Day? I think it is. It really is. But they began to associate all cats with witchcraft, and they killed the cats. Well, the plague was caused by a flea that traveled on rats, not cats. And of course, cats then, far more than today, killed rats. That's what they ate, pretty much. So by killing all the cats, the plague got worse. Finally, they figured that out. There are many I don't know about many. I didn't mean to say that, but there are ethological differences between dogs and cats. And the greatest is this, that dogs were predators as they evolved. Today, I'm not so sure, which I'll talk about. Cats are both predator and prey. And they are both predator and prey historically and today as well. So here are the differences between dogs and cats. Hopefully you can hear this okay.
Oh, it's so good to see you, buddy. Oh, I know I saw you this morning, but it seems like it's been forever. We gotta celebrate. What do you want to do? Hey,
Alex, I hope they're hearing this.
So let's get some fresh air? Yeah, sure. I'll put my stuff down. All right. What's up, Jimmy? Hey man, what are you doing? Are you cooking? Do you need any help? I can help. I'm good. Actually, where's the basil? Bottom drawer. What is this? I'm so sorry. I don't even deserve to be here. I'll just go get paper towels and clean it up and leave. We're out of cereal. Your friend's weird. Yeah, I don't think he likes you. He doesn't really like anyone. Oh. So do you. Jimmy, no. No. Hey, don't worry. I got this. That's a good boy.
Okay, so I like that video anyway. So how cats relate to one another, even some of the older veterinary textbooks suggest that cats are antisocial, but they're not. They're territorial, and one reason why cats don't easily acclimate to going places is because they feel comfortable, secure in their territories. And that is their territories. They don't want to leave their territory. So cats that are outdoor cats live in groups. No one forces them to live in groups. If they were antisocial, they would not live in groups. They feel confident that way. They feel comfortable that way. They feel protected that way. But they hunt as solitary animals. They eat as solitary animals, which is important to understand for some of the behavior problems between cats and dogs. They don't eat with others of their own kind or any kind, and they don't feel comfortable that way. And they, most of all, again, I'll end here where I started this slide, they don't feel comfortable leaving the place they know, leaving their territory. Unlike dogs, they require feeling safe. Of course, dogs do too. But they are control freaks. As I said at the beginning, I would say this 1,000 times. And when they feel in control, they are far more comfortable. So keep that in the back of your mind as I talk about all these other things, like how to understand what the heck cats are telling us. Decoding Cats, which is the name of a new book out, authored by the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists. So this is a book that I recommend to anyone who is more interested in cat behavior, in preventing problems and solving problems. It is authored by the ultimate experts in feline behavior, and those are veterinary behaviorists. I'll talk more about the book at the very, very end. So dogs have more muscles in their faces, so they are able, first of all, physically, they are able to be more demonstrative in demonstrating how they feel. Also, cats psychologically are not necessarily demonstrative unless they're very comfortable around who they are with. The truth is that there are now formulas out to read cats, to better understand what cats are telling us in a subtle way. It isn't all the same. So we understand that dogs are far better than cats because we're hardwired to understand what dogs are telling us. Dogs are by nature more effusive to express how they're feeling. Facial structures of cats only allow so much expression. And if you think the cats aren't communicating, you're wrong. We're just not getting it. Because the truth is they are always communicating with us, just like dogs are. So let's talk about, first of all, cats' capabilities. So I saw a talk about this broad topic years ago. And it was all about, okay, dogs, and cats were mentioned here and there. And the idea was if you could understand dogs, you could solve problems between dogs and cats. I'm flipping that because you don't see that in talks, and because I think it's important, because if we could solve the cat's issue, most of the time the dog issue goes away. So cats hear at higher frequencies than dogs, or for that matter, humans. Women's voice actually may be more soothing to cats because of their range. They have satellite dish ears that completely turn 180 degrees, but their ears are not only used to hear, but they are used to communicate, same as in dogs. So how cats sense the world as far as their vision, like people, they have excellent binocular vision. Cats can dilate 90% of the eye area. It's adapted to catch quick movements like that little mouse. Their hearing, incidentally, is geared for hearing rodents squeak, squeak at a very high pitch. They're adapted to alert to danger, of course, and they're adapted to hunt at night. Those whiskers are really amazing. They appear in the womb before the cat is even born. At birth, of course, they're there, but the cats are near deaf and they're blind, but they have functioning whiskers. The top row can move independently than the bottom row of whiskers. And the whole point, in part, is if you've killed something like a rat, you want to make sure that that rat is actually dead before you begin to eat it so it doesn't bite you back. And their whiskers are able to determine that. They have organs, sensory organs, so it's not hair. They have actually sensory organs called proprioceptors, that help a cat to determine the object's distance, direction, and even surface texture. Blind cats do well in great part because they have those whiskers that can do arguably much more than dogs' whiskers can. Cats may also have whiskers in other places on their face, above or below their eyes, on their cheeks, etc. And their whiskers also communicate their moods or emotions. For signaling, there are all sorts of ways that cats do this with their ears and their whiskers. They tell you how they're feeling just by the position of their ears and together with the position of their whiskers. Cats have twice as many receptors in the olfactory epithelium as people. They don't have the sense of smell that dogs have, but boy, oh boy, it's darn good. And essentially, they, like dogs, live by their noses. But it's not only their sense of smell, which is their olfactory organ. In addition to that, they have what's called a vomeronasal organ, which they sense pheromones. And while pheromones are very much a part of dog communication with one another, dogs with one another, and even when you're walking down the street with your dog and your dog is sniffing at the grass and sniffing the urine of another dog or the feces of another dog, out with that feces came pheromones. And they're learning all this information about other dogs. As important as pheromones are to dogs, they are arguably more important for cats, and there are more pheromone fractions found on cats' bodies compared to dogs. So it's called a flamen response when dogs sense or try to sense those pheromones. The Jacobson's organ that I mentioned, this has nothing, again, to do with the olfactory organ. That's smelling something through your nose, a cat's nose, or a dog's nose. You smell something burning in the kitchen, you smell it through your nose. Cats smell with their nose too, quite obviously, but they also smell with this Jacobson's organ, and smell is not the right word. They really sense. We don't even quite understand what it is, but they communicate, they sense chemicals. This is chemical communication. It's species specific, which is why we don't understand it. Maybe Catwoman does, but most people don't. And it's found right over there on the roof of their mouth, right toward the front of their teeth. I sounded like Jerry Lewis there for a second. And this is what it kind of looks or sounds like in cats. They don't always make this noise. And they'll do this, which is called a gaping or flamen response. And they try to bring in more air into where that Jacobson's organ is on the roof of their mouth to better understand whatever it is they're trying to sense. So these are where pheromones are found in cats. More choices than in dogs. The cat at the bottom, it's my right anyway, is depositing cheek pheromones onto that wall, saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is my property. Just like a cat would rub against your leg or a table leg. They're depositing pheromones when they do that. Sometimes they communicate with one another that way, and they certainly headbutt with us, right? And when they do that, they're actually depositing pheromones. When they're headbutting with a dog, they're depositing pheromones. When they're scratching, they're also depositing pheromones. So cat communication is sometimes, really very, very clear. So at the above left, that cat is terrified. At the above right, that cat is in a defensive posture. Dilated eyes, whiskers back, ears back, everything about the hair, even on the front of the face is back, right? How about this? And I'm not going to play it very long because it's too loud. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, this is pretty clear. It's not offense, it's actually defense. Everything is back. Back. Ears back. Everything about the face is back. The cat looks crouched into a little ball, making himself or herself as small as possible. This isn't offense. It can turn to offense, but it's defense. Now, Cats in this position have three choices. Veterinarians tell me they're seeing choice number 3 now more than ever before. It's called learned helplessness. And that is a condition which an animal or a person says, I feel powerless. I can't do anything about it. I'm in a room with 5,000 spiders. I am just going to give up and sit in a corner. And that's what people that are terrified of spiders, that know they cannot get out of the room, will do. They're literally frozen with fright. So it's easy for a veterinarian to treat these cats because they're frozen. However, they're terrified. And this is not where any veterinarian I know, they don't always recognize it, but any veterinarian I know or any professional groomer, whatever, wants that cat to be. Because this cat is absolutely thinking, quite literally, I'm going to die. The other choices are to fight back or to take flight if they possibly can. So the one we just saw, pursued, that cat would have no choice, backed into a corner, than probably to fight back. Sometimes our communication with cats is lacking. You hear that mild growl, it's getting louder. This cat again is defensive. I don't know if it's the video camera or the person. Who knows what this cat is upset about. Whiskers are flared out, they're back against the body. You can hear what this cat is saying, which is get away from me. And yes, having nowhere to go, eventually this cat potentially could attack.
Hey, Tiona.
Why do people do this?
I think it might be time for a diet.
It's not a dog. Now, there are some cats, certainly, many cats who love to have their bellies rubbed. More cats do not. Some cats have learned to, okay, this is what people do, I'll tolerate it. Other cats actually seem to enjoy the attention. But most cats do not like that. They feel comfortable if they're laying on their backs, but they certainly don't want a person or a dog coming up to them, another cat coming up to them, and grooming them right there, right then, or petting them in the case of a person. That's most cats, not all cats. Now, this is what we do want to see. The tail looks like, literally, you'll see it, a question mark, right? And that cat looks really comfortable, lays on its side, it's a little overweight, and even has music that this cat goes with. So here's some cat language 101 for you. I'm not going to go through each of these. I mean, you could see what's here, from a very friendly cat to a confused and cautious cat. We already saw cats that are terrified. Here's that question mark tail again. A tail gently going back and forth like that is, this is so nice and comfortable. I want more of whatever you're doing. Here are some cats that we see. This is from a video given to me by someone in Scandinavia. So notice how this person puts its hand, her hand out to the cat, and then from there lets the cat come to that person's hand. You could do that with one single finger, and then the cat saying, oh, this is going to be nice. Sure, I want to interact with you. And the person responds appropriately. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. So this is at an animal shelter of some sort. It's feeding time. The cats know it. The cats clearly know one another. Look at those tails, all up in the air, comfortable. They're probably just running for the food. But there's no issue here, no problem. These are all probably hungry, but happy cats. So the cat handshake is what you can do when there's a cat that you don't particularly know well. You put out your middle digit or any of your fingers, and the cat will, not an upset cat, not that cat on the defense, because you'll get bitten. But I'm talking about a cat who's either somewhat hesitant or is acting somewhat friendly. It's just like the person you see on the street, not now, we're not allowed to handshake now, but when we could handshake with other people, you put out your hand, you just put out your finger, and the cat then extends its its neck and its whole face and its nose to touch your finger. Another way to communicate with cats is to blink, a relaxed blink. And most of the time, if the cat is also willing to engage, if the cat is, you're going to get a blink back. Kneading, which is a way to describe, some say it's baking bread, so the paws go like this. We don't know why cats do that, but we do know they seem to do that emotionally to express themselves when they're comfortable. Allo grooming, they will groom other cats, they'll groom dogs in the house, and sometimes even groom people as well. Little love bites.
Salon de meow meow.
That's allo grooming, a person. Little love bites that they'll do either for attention at times, but it seems to demonstrate affection as well. And they will paw at you. You pet the cat a little bit, and the cat says, give me more, give me more, give me more. And they will paw for attention. And sometimes they'll do that with dogs too. So what are they saying? Well, purring, we don't know exactly what that means, even after all these years. It seems to be a self-calming mechanism. And we have little kittens that we see when they begin to purr. It's when mom goes away. They begin to purr when something is stressing them a bit. Certainly, we see purring as an act of affection, an act of calmness, happiness. I'm not quite sure what the right adjectives are, but it's a pleasurable expression. But we also see cats purr when they're learning. You can teach cats all sorts of things. And when the cat is engaged, that cat may purr when the cat is engaged with a person. In addition to that, cats will purr when they're in pain. Veterinarians report all the time cats purring when they are euthanizing cats. Meow is generally a communication reserved to communicate with humans. It means I want something, attention or food, most of the time. A louder meow means I want it right now, don't wait. Little chatters or chirps, they actually can sound like birds chirping, can be made when they're hunting or even just looking outside the window at birds or butterflies going by. Hissing, as I said earlier, is almost always defense, and a caterwaul kind of sound that alley cat might make is a female in heat. Now, of course, we're not always right about reading dogs. Now, this wasn't the dog. This is just from a YouTube video. But there was a dog, similarly, that smiled and did so for attention, apparently, and was just rehomed. And the family truly thought that this dog was growling at them because the dog was showing all of her teeth. And they ended up relinquishing this poor dog. And that's so sad. So we can miscommunicate with dogs too, but I would say less of it with dogs than cats. And when we use aversives or punishment, when a cat is behaving however the cat is behaving, well, this is what happens. We get the middle digit. Cats don't tolerate it. Dogs shouldn't. They too often do. So I want to talk about some of the common problems between cats and dogs after that long setup. So what about dogs that snack from the litter box? Those dogs do it because cat feces is filled with protein. It smells good to a dog, at least a lot of them, and it tastes good too. There are ways in which you can position litter boxes or tell your clients to do it. If I have professionals here watching me, you know, some people have put litter boxes on top of washing machines or on top of folding tables, that kind of thing. The only problem with that is that, first of all, as the cat ages, can the cat still jump up there? But moreover, what if the litter box falls? And how do you use the washing machine with a litter box on it? I mean, someone actually did send me an image of that and say, I've solved the problem. Well, you created potentially another problem. So when we deal with this and dogs, we have to also consider the cat's perspective, the ability to use that litter box. So another thing you can do now is use technology. So there are little chips you can buy that you can put in dog collars or cat collars. Cats can wear collars, by the way, that allow a gate that is high enough for a dog not to jump over, allow a gate to open up for the cat, but not allow the gate to open up for the dog. As far as cats urinating and the dogs having to do with the part of the problem, that does happen. So when cats go, and I always talk to people, if cats are inappropriately eliminating, where is the cat going? And if the cat is going somewhere high, probably it is because something on the ground, and it's not always another pet, but something, it could be kids playing too close to the litter box or blocking the way, not knowing they're blocking the way. From the cat's perspective, though, those kids, or even Uncle Joe that's coming to visit, who the cat is kind of concerned about. As far as dogs and cats go, however, it could be that the dog truly is not getting along with the cat, and the cat feels uncomfortable to traverse whatever territory it has to get to the litter box and go past the dog, or potentially the dog poking its head into the litter box, even not wanting anything to do with the cat. Let's say they get along, but the dog wants to eat what the cat might be doing in the litter box and is there right there the moment the cat begins to do his or her business. Well, that could feel very uncomfortable, would for me, and it certainly does for many cats. So they find a place to go where the dog isn't going to be around, or maybe other cats aren't going to be around. This talk is not about inter-cat relationships, but one hint that there's an issue of cats not getting along with one another, a dog not getting along as well as you may think, or you know it, with a cat, is a cat choosing to urinate or defecate at a place that's up high. So what about dogs that eat the feces, or coprophragia? Well, I talked a little bit about this, and you can go to Amazon. There are all kinds of tools that are out there now. One is one to adjust the door so it opens wide enough for most cats. If you have a Chihuahua, you have a problem, but certainly a Great Dane wouldn't be able to get through. Any large dog wouldn't be able to get through. I talked about, excuse me, the gates where a chip can open for the animal to get through. The litter box itself, you may be able to arrange in such a way. I don't like the middle image. And these were all sent to me by people that have seen me present at veterinary conferences, either veterinarians or technicians themselves. Excuse me. Sorry. It is not dry in here. I don't know why. Veterinarians or technicians themselves or their clients. I don't like these because these are not comfortable places for the cats to go. So the middle image, that piece of furniture would be closed and the cat has to go in that sort of entrance on the side. You see it? Where there's a sort of a cat door that allows them in. But I'll tell you, if some cats can barely squeeze, there's a very little elbow room in there as it is. Our litter boxes are too small for most cats anyway. The one at the right is okay if you have a young cat, I suppose. But as a cat ages, how the heck does the cat get in there? And the one at the left, I'm not even sure what that is anymore. I knew it when I put the image up there that they sent me. Got me hanging, but I know I didn't like the idea. So I talked a bit about cats urinating in high places and why cats generally choose to do that. Is that something is going on down on the ground. What about cats that constantly attack dogs? Maybe not quite like that. Well, there's a reason for that, and the reasons vary depending on the situation. So it could be because of a previous bad experience with dogs, a lack of experience with dogs, and they're having a language communication problem. The environment is not comfortable, which includes, by the way, not enough enrichment for the dogs and the cat. It could be that the dog is just out of control. Perception from the cat. So you may say this dog is acting appropriately, but from the cat's point of view, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel in control. And if your cat doesn't have places to hide, including high places to get away from the dog, and maybe even a room the dog cannot get into, but the cat can, that cat may feel uncomfortable. I just helped someone, and part of the solution, different situation this was about 2 cats, but to always find a place, a room where the cat feeling not secure can feel secure, that the other cat in that case, but it could be the dog, is not going to disturb me. It could be redirected aggression, resource guarding, territorial aggression. Is it aggression or play? In cats, by the way, it's sometimes hard to tell. And it could be a dog that returns from the veterinary clinic and doesn't smell the same anymore. And if you don't smell the same anymore to a dog or a cat, that's like us going to the doctor and getting a whole new face. Literally, a new face, a completely new face. You wouldn't be recognized, right? Because that's how we recognize others. Cats and dogs recognize others by sense of smell. So I want to talk a little bit about redirected aggression. It's usually from other cats that are outside, and a cat can look at another cat outside and then turn to another cat or turn to a dog and just let that dog have it. And this is serious aggression. Clients or individuals getting between all that, I wouldn't recommend it because these cats are serious. Dogs generally, from aggression in general, including this type of aggression, they don't take all that long, depending on the dog, depending on the circumstance, anywhere from a couple minutes, maybe a half hour or 40 minutes or an hour to calm down. Cats can take hours, where their brain chemistry adjusts to normal. So the best thing you can do if you have a cat that turns to the dog and the dog says, what the heck, the cat is seriously attacking this dog because of something the cat saw outside, can't get to it, so goes after the dog that's sitting nonchalantly right there. What do? You grab a towel and as safely as you can, if you can, take the cat into a bedroom or something, bathroom, just close the door and walk away and leave the cat there for hours, potentially, to calm down. It really can take that long. You deal with this issue not by dealing with the dog, although I'll talk about that in a moment. Immediately, you want to deal with those outdoor cats so they don't come again. You want to deal with the cat's mood and disposition. Feel Away, which is a pheromone product, can help that. That's for sure. But this dog may now have a new opinion about the cat, and you may have to change that. And the best thing you can do is when the cat is out, and the cat may have a new opinion about the dog, it can change that instantly. These best friends for 10 years can no longer be best friends just because of that. So what do? Well, you try to use positive reinforcement for sure. And whenever they come together, something amazing happens. So if, for instance, I saw you, any of you, right? And anytime I saw you, or for all of you, better, for all of you, for watching this talk, now you look up in the sky and $100 falls from your ceiling. You're going to probably want to hear me speak a lot. If every time you hear me speak, $100 appears. So what I tell people is to bring these dogs and cats together very slowly after redirection, when there's no longer the trust that was previously there. And every time they come together for only a brief period of time, they get something pretty incredible. And I'm talking tuna or salmon for the cat, maybe for the dog too, liver treats, chicken, baby food, whatever, cheese, whatever it is, the dog, and whatever it is, the cat most like. But take out the heavy artillery.
Really? You're scared of her? Come on.
It's not about size, is it?
Come here. It's okay. Come on. Come here. Come here.
So just for the sake of time, I'm not going to be able to show this whole video, but the point is that dogs may understand what a cat is saying to them better than we can. So dogs do understand that cats can demonstrate aggression in a very covert way. We may not get it. The dogs might or might not get it, but they might. What do you do to deal with this issue? When a cat says, this room is mine, the stairway is mine, this place is mine, they are territorial, and they may never want the dog to pass. They may just be making a point, and that's fine if they generally get along and the cat just gives like this a light poke. But if the cat is very serious about it and is going to attack the dog, you have to occupy the cat in another way. Give the cat something else to do. Distract with an incompatible behavior. And every time the dog appears, again, I like the idea of treats appearing from nowhere. And this sort of thing can escalate. So it's not always cute as people say that it is. Cats can just be jerks at times. They have their reasons. We don't know them.
Why do you have to jerk around like it?
So this dog is trying to say, hey, I'll play with you. I don't understand what you're so serious about this. So teach appropriate play for the cat. Enrich the environment. I can't say that enough. And that includes the way in which we feed cats, which I do a whole talk on. We're feeding them all wrong. And in part, at least put treats in different places around the house. If the cats are busy searching for those treats, quote unquote, hunting for those treats, that won't give them as much of an opportunity to do things to that dog, that poor dog, that you don't want the cat to do. Sometimes it's just a matter of not understanding. So this dog is trying very hard to say, I just want to play. And the cat's not so sure. They don't always speak the same language. Can this dog, I'm going to try this now. It works with people. Will it work with the cat? Not so much. Eventually, this kitten will understand and will begin to understand. So when dogs chase cats, sometimes cats think, literally, I'm going to die, even if the dog doesn't mean that, even if it is a fun chase. If the cat has no previous experience with that dog and no previous experience with dogs, the cat may say to himself or herself, because cats talk to themselves all the time, I suppose, but really think, I'm going to die. Literally. That's how terrified these cats are. So no wonder they can respond the way they can respond. Even if it's a fun chase and the dog just says, or is saying, I just want to play. And when I play, I chase. However, there's a predatory chase. And when that happens, cats don't always, but almost always seem to know it. And these dogs are serious. And while I can, and you can, and I hope that you do, contact a veterinary behaviorist or a certified cat behavior consultant to deal with it. At the end of the day, sometimes a dog like that really wants to eat, literally, the cat, kill the cat. Those dogs probably shouldn't live with cats. Cats pick up on that. They're terrified each and every day. And the one day that you leave a door open, the one day a dog pushes a door open, the one day you're not home and they're together, you know, I hear too many stories like that. Now, there are cats that are totally stand-up cats, as I call them. They are amazingly good, no matter how large the dog is, at saying stop. So you have a dog that's chasing a cat. There's the type of cat that runs the other way, even if the dog means no harm. But then there are these cats that turn around and say, what? Stop. And from there on out, they respect one another in a whole new different way. And if you happen to have a cat like that, there are generally few problems between the cats and dogs getting along because the cat is in control. The cat feels in control. And that's what cats are all about. So dealing with a dog that's chasing a cat just for fun, I'm not going to talk here about a predatory dog. That is a lengthier discussion and a more concerning one. and one that can include psychopharmaceutical products, etc. But have the dog on a leash. Basic obedience must be taught to that dog. It could be taught using clicker training, if so desired. Training a cat is fine. What you really want to do for the cat, though, is give the cat somewhere else to go to escape. Up high, especially, cats need anyhow. Even if they're not living with dogs, all cats need vertical space. Dealing with the cat being chased by the dog. The cats, as I said, require a place to escape vertically, up high to do it, so they can feel safe and in control. The correct introduction takes a while. So the new pet goes into a sanctuary room. If it's a cat, feel away. If it's a dog, adaptil. Those are pheromone products. There are all sorts of other sorts of products, nutritional supplements that can be used. I like one called Zylkene, Zylkene. CBD, I don't know. Talk to your veterinarian about it. That's my out. Anecdotally, it can help, but not all CBD products are the same. And some may actually be dangerous because of what's in them. There's no regulation. So veterinarians have their favorites if they live in a place where they can recommend a CBD product. Again, anecdotally, it can help take the edge off. Certainly for cats, catnip and silvervine and valerian root and honeysuckle. Play is a great stress buster. Structure is important. Maintaining the schedule for the existing pet, exchanging items. So they're behind closed doors in different rooms, but exchange those items and put them next to the food dish. Toys or bedding. So they associate the smell of the other in that other room with food. Sometimes it takes even months, but typically not. And actually the introductions of dogs, unless the cat has had a previous bad experience with the dog, the introduction of dogs and cats together takes less time than introducing a cat to a cat. And give them a reason, as I said, tuna, sardines, salmon, cheese, whatever. Give them a reason or more than one reason to like one another. Don't let them just work it out. That old notion, let them just figure it out, that's never a good idea. So some other quick problems here. I'm running out of time. You open the door, the dog runs through, and now you've got an open door and the cat races through. Toss, oh my gosh, toss toys or treats in the opposite direction of the door. So you're going out with the dog, the cat wants to run out with you. You don't want the cat running out with you. So toss, I said toss this time, treats and toys in the opposite direction, and be sure the environment is enriched. And what that cat will do is learn when I open the door to run the other way, because that's the way the treats are going to be. Where are you when you return home from the vet? Well, now you've got an animal that smells completely different, the dog or the cat, either which one, right? Cats especially, far more than dogs can be, but sometimes dogs, offended as this new animal coming back isn't even recognized anymore. You could put a common scent on all of the animals, the ones that were at the vet and the ones that are at home, like valerian root, a dab of cologne behind the ears of that pet, or lavender. So they all smell alike. That's the whole idea of that. Now they smell like one another. Is it enough to disguise the vet room smell? Well, maybe not necessarily. You could distract with play, CBD, maybe, I don't know. Feel away, adaptil, the pheromone products. The point is that you can get from here to there. This is me, and I hope you like me and find me in social media, including Facebook. I do have a fan page, as well as check out these books. Now, where did it go? I put the slide up for Decoding Your Cat, and it's not there. So I wrote a book called, I didn't write it, I lied to you. I co-edited the book and wrote the introduction to the book, Decoding Your Dog. It was written by members of the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists, the ultimate experts in animal behavior, right? And at that point, there was a reason at that particular point in time to write that book. It sold so incredibly well. So we convinced the publisher to do this book called Decoding Your Cat. And it's available now. I also wrote the introduction, but it's authored by members of the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists. I'm going to end my slideshow and then go back here. And I'm going to try to answer some questions or comments. I'll take about 10 minutes to do it if you have any. So let me read them here. Annie Peters, oh my gosh, a celebrity. So she is, and I want you to know about Pet Partners. If you're interested in animal-assisted activities of any type, this is the organization to check out. They do incredible work. They support incredible work, and they're doing it now at a very, very difficult time, right? And Annie is the executive director of this organization I just have so much respect for, because I know, I've seen it. I've done this myself with one of our dogs. And I've seen the difference that it can make to these people in a wide variety of circumstances, whether they be in reading programs in schools, patients in hospitals, whether they be children, or maybe they are on the opposite end of the spectrum at senior centers. Maybe they're in hospice altogether. These dogs on occasion, and other animals too, can save lives, and we know enhance healing. And the #1 organization that does this, that certifies animals to do this, is Pet Partners. I loved your video, thank you. There were a couple of videos, so I don't know which one, but thank you. I'm glad you thought it was interesting, informative and interesting. Thank you, thank you. Where is there more info on dogs chasing cats in a predatory manner? So I don't know if you specifically, Jill, have that problem or not. That's a tough one, because these dogs will generally not be dissuaded by basic training. They won't be dissuaded by you using the best treats on the planet. They are focused on attacking a cat. And what's worse, in a sense, or it's good, the cats seem to know it. So it's good because this gives the cats potentially enough opportunity to get away. It's not good, though, because they're terrified. And no one deserves to live that way. Can the problem be dealt with a veterinary behaviorist and probably psychopharmaceutical or drug intervention? I mean, plugging in a pheromone product, taking a nutritional supplement, as much as calming care from Purina. It's a probiotic. It's amazing. It's wonderful. Is that going to do the trick? No. Something more needs to happen. And really, the situation should be walked through on an individual basis with a veterinary behaviorist or a certified certified dog behavior consultant, in my opinion. I have 2 cats which rescued together about a year ago. They're very social, and I take them on walks in a pet stroller. I love that. We do the same with we used to. She's 17, going on 18. We don't do that as much. I started this when they were kittens. They've always been fun, but more recently, the calico. It's a calico. I can't answer, no matter what the question is. Calicos? Are you kidding? It's a calico is hissing at my other cat on the stroller walk. So are they together in the stroller? Maybe the answer is to take them one at a time. When we get home, everything is fine. That might be the advice. Or maybe your calico is saying, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm not sure. But consider that possibility. How do you tell the difference between predatory and play chasing? Part of the answer is your gut. I mean, these dogs are solely focused on getting the cat. You can tell by the body language of the dog. This is in play. This is in a tail gently waving back and forth. The tail excitingly going back and forth, but not a gentle wave, I'm happy. It's no different than if you watch a video, go to YouTube, of a video of a dog that is chasing a squirrel. It's no different. I mean, there's no definitive, look for this and look for this and look for this, but someone who's experienced sees it when they know it. In many cases, I would say then take your phone, shoot a video. Don't do that to your cat. If you have one, fine, to show your veterinarian or a veterinary behaviorist. But that's the time to call hands-on help in. There was a guy on TV, a certain dog trainer, who would set up for the TV cameras because it made good TV. It drove me crazy. So I don't do a ton of home consults because I'm so busy doing other things, including typically going to veterinary conferences around the world. Now I'm going to them in my living room. But what was I just going to say about that? Oh, but when I do see clients, I don't demand to pull the client out from under the bed. I don't demand to see these two dogs, if they're not getting along, attack one another. I don't want to see that. That's not beneficial to anybody, So, I don't want to see that, but if you have the video, that's helpful. How do you tell the difference? Okay, you asked me that. If there are no more questions, no more comments, then I think I will be off. Again, I hope you sign up for my blog newsletter. My blog is stevedale.tv. You simply go to my website or my blog, one and the same, and it says sign up for a newsletter. I send up 2, 3, maybe a month, so it doesn't drop in your mailbox every day. Sadly, sometimes might land in junk mail. Don't let that happen to my newsletter. In addition to that, I hope you like me and find me on Facebook, because I report about all sorts of things happening with companion animals. I'm about to write a blog about something really sad, actually, that's going on in North Korea, having to do with dogs. So I'll be out with that post in about an hour or so. Thank you for your thank yous. Thank you, pet partners. All you have to do is ask, and you know it. I'm always happy to be here for you. I'll just sign off for now, and if I can figure out how to do that on this platform, maybe I won't, and say